Yo, what's up my brother, what's up my sister? This is your boy Oscar Ntege again with yet another amazing video. In this particular video today, you're going to learn how to retouch skin using frequency separation. Let me say this again. In this particular video, you're going to learn how to perfectly retouch skin using a technique called frequency separation. I've seen very many people who watched my previous videos on frequency separations really doing a lot of mistakes, and there are certain things I really did not talk about in my previous video, and I'm going to address those issues in this particular video. Let me explain what frequency separation is. Frequency separation is a skin retouching technique where you separate the textures from the colors of an image. You edit the skin textures all alone and the skin tones as skin tones. Basically, you're putting two different components of an image on two different layers so that you can easily edit them. So let us dive into this. So we come and duplicate this layer twice, just like this. So we're going to have all these tones, and we're going to call these textures. Yeah, basically we are going to steal all the texture or grab all the texture that is in the lower tones and put it all into this texture layer, and we leave only the tones into this under layer, the one that has tones. So how do we do this? You come, let's remove the eye icon from this so that it's not visible. We come here into tones, you say here filter, you come and say blur, and then you say Gaussian blur. Now I want your maximum attention here. This is where most of the people do mess up, because once you mess up this stage, the rest of the image is going to be totally messed up. Your image is either going to come out flat, or it's going to come out, I don't know, almost not done. So if you have this first blur perfectly done, the rest of the image is going to be very beautiful. So what do we do here? What is the trick here? The trick here is to blur out every texture we want to maintain in the final image. I would say this again. For every texture, for every pore you would want to see in the final image, you make sure in this particular blur it is blurred out, and everything that you don't want to remove, make sure it is not blurred out. It is that simple. But most of the people just go on and just do any blur and they move. So either a picture will turn out to be very smooth or very flat, sometimes the picture looking almost not done. So let us see how we get this perfect. So I just come and ask myself, which one is my favorite picture in this image? I think I love the texture around this. I feel like this is the real skin, this one here, and I'll make sure this texture here is blurred out, like just like that. So I come and blur it out. I even zoom it out here so that I make sure I don't see it, you know. And it is not a very big image. I don't want you to cram these digits here, because different cameras have different megapixels, and of course the distance of the how far is the image away from the camera. I mean, this is what determines how much pixels you blur out here. But don't cram digits, just use your eyes and gauge and see, okay, I still want to blur it out just a little bit more so that I don't have, when you see that the skin is almost smoothed out and you don't see any of the texture that you really desire in your image, you just come here and say, okay, that's it. Then you come here into the texture layer, make sure you bring back the eye icon, select the texture layer, you come here and say image, you say apply image. Then remember, we said we are going to subtract all the texture from the tonal layer and bring it here. So how do we subtract it? We come here and of course look for what they call subtract, just like that. And where are we subtracting that texture from? Of course, we are subtracting the texture from the tonal layer. So where do you do that? You come here onto the layer section here, and then you say tones, because we are stealing texture from the tonal layer and transferring it into the texture layer, right? So you click on two tones just like that. So your image, most probably, if you don't use this technique, might be black all through. Don't worry about that. Let me just help you. Now you come here and place here 2, and you place the offset at 128. Rather 128. Now it is usually 128 because it is usually 128 because that's where the red, green, and blue are usually in equal portions. That is why it is 128. So let me just explain it to you in terms of color theory. When you get one droplet of red in the same quantity and green in the same quantity and blue in the same quantity and put them in one kind of and you mix them together, they will give you a gray color, and the gray color of that, the color code of it is 128. We shall go into details of this into the next tutorial, but as of now your image is supposed to look like this. Let us go into this and say okay. So you come here into the blending modes and you say linear light. So when you look at it, it's supposed to be the same image basically. What we have done, let me just put this in a group. I'll just click here, then press shift and then drag them down into the folder icon. I'll name this frequency. Now this image, the one that is in the group, and this one are similar. The only difference between this and this is that this one has its two frequencies separated, where now look at it from a perspective of a song. If this and this are the same song, the only difference between this song and this song is that the instrumental has been separated from the vocals. So basically, if you want to edit the instrumental, you can edit the instrumental as an instrumental. If you want to edit the vocals, you can edit the vocals as vocals. So if I'm to bring it in a musical kind of way, so here we have just separated the textures from the colors. So now we are going to first of all work on the textures, right? Let us get to this. Now we are going to make the textures more visible than they are, because sometimes when an image is already edited, it's already rather has a little bit of makeup and the like, it's very hard to see textures, especially if somebody is very light skinned. So how do you bring the textures on top? We're going to create what they call a black and white help layer. So you come here, there, and then you say black and white, and then we are going to crush the reds by darkening them more. When you darken the reds more, this is what happens. You get the textures more visible. And we come here and close this. We don't need it. So we're just going to come, open up this, and we select the layer, and then get your clone stamp here, and then you come reduce it. I'll reduce the hardness a bit so that I get actual, I don't get that fluffy kind of removal. So I'll just come and press Alt here and then click, Alt click as I cover up the pimples. You know, in whichever you choose to remove really all these blemishes. You can use the spot healing tool, you can use, I mean, all that stuff, you know, but for faster results I'm using the clone stamp. Let me try using the spot healing tool. I'll just remove this and make sure this is sample all layers is not selected, and I'll just click onto this. The spot healing tool is very good at removing small spots. Yeah, these spots that where you don't want to remove with a clone stamp to leave traces. So it's good you use the spot healing tool for such, you know, small blemishes. So basically this is what we just want to get awesome results. That is what we want at the end of the day. So you just remove the black and white layer and to see whether what you're doing is right. I'll just remove some bits of these wrinkles. I don't think I like the way this one has really been removed, so I'm just going to press Ctrl Z to get back. I'll leave those ones there. Oops, cancel. Just come and remove all this stuff. All this. Oh, and by the way, for those of you who are portrait photographers, I created what I call the Stunning Portrait Guide. That this is a guide that is going to help you improve your portraits, put more emotions and more life into your portraits. It is, I'll just leave a link to it in the description below so that you can get access to this knowledge. You will also see me shoot these portraits behind the scenes, and of course many more things. Just click the link in the description below and get access to the Stunning Portrait Guide so that you don't miss out on such amazing knowledge. It is something that has really taken me time to compile just for your understanding, because I want you guys to be better. I want you guys to, to grow your craft so that you take it to the next level. At the end of the day, we want to all make a living, make more money and the like, and that is what I want for you guys. So make sure you get a hold of the Stunning Portrait Guide. As we are clicking through this. Oh, and by the way, if you don't want to go through this whole frequency separation stuff, I've also put a link in the description below of the action packs, of my free action packs. These have the color packs I use, everything that I've been using when I'm editing such beauty shots, so that you don't have to go through this hassle. What I'm doing for you right now is to help you understand the whole process for better results, so that you know the whys and the hows. Once you know that, it's very easy for you to create awesome portraits. So I'm done with working with the texture. Let me just put back the black and white layer and see. I think I'm good with this because I don't want the tutorial to be so long, really. Let me see. So the next thing we are going to do, oops, I'll put this back in linear light. So the next thing we are going to do right now, we are going to work on the textures, rather on the colors of the image. Yeah, some people you choose to use the mixer brush, but I choose to use the Gaussian blur technique because it gives me more precise results than more precise and consistent results with my portraits. Okay, now the next thing we are going to do, we are going to edit what we call skin tones. Now for skin tones, you make sure your feather here is at 18 or 35, depending on how big your image is. Of course, the bigger the image, the more feather you would need, and the smaller the image, the less of the feather you will need. In this particular image, it's not of course so big. If you've downloaded it, I guess you see it's even in KBs, not even 3 MBs heavy. So you just come here and select a portion like this, and then you come here and say filter, you say blur, you say Gaussian blur, and then we're going to first put it to 0 and then move it forward just like this. Don't take it overboard. When you take it overboard, it is going to give you that flat look, and this is what I usually see people posting on Instagram, pictures that look this flat. You don't want to do this kind of flat looking images just because you want to see the effect really take shape. No, guys. You make sure that you do this blur in such a way that you maintain the highlights and the contour in the whole image. So let me just push it forward, and I look for that sweet spot, where you see you actually stand somehow in a distance. Don't stand so close to your computer because you may not realize the effect. Stand in a distance and you get a perfect view. Don't stand too close. Move your head close and back so that you get that actual feel of how it is supposed to be. The result is a sweet spot. Yeah. And the more you do this, the more you're going to begin getting consistent and even better results. Yeah, the goal here is not to get views and minutes of watch time. The goal here is to help you guys understand how the whole process works so that you can serve your customers better, right? Let us dive into this even further. So you just come and that is my sweet spot, I guess. The highlights are maintained, I have the skin well toned out, and I'm just going now to apply the same effect to the different parts of the skin. Let's go with this, and then oops, like that. I select, I press Ctrl F to repeat the same effect. I come here again, I still press Ctrl F, same applies here, Ctrl F, I come here, I still press Ctrl F here. I'll just do it twice because I need it to be emphasized. So I come here again on the nose part, I still press Ctrl F. Now when you look at this, the nose contour wasn't really done right. We see we have lines here that show the makeup brushes and the like. This is where you have to master the technique called burning and dodging so that you improve this whole stuff. But in this tutorial we are not going to tackle that. But in the burning and dodging tutorial, I will show you how to correct all these. Yeah, make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss my next tutorial, because a lot more is coming for you guys. It's really something you are going to enjoy, you know. So I just come and press Ctrl F, just like that, for me just to repeat these actions over and over again, you know. So I'm just going to come, of course, still under here, under the, and when you're doing it and making these selections, make sure the selections are, you know, within that particular point you're trying to edit. Don't do, you know, this uniform where you come and make a selection from here and here. That is where you end up having really flat images. Just select, the selections have to match the shape of the part you are editing. You know, these are things you're not going to hear people tell you. They will just show you the frequency separation technique, and yes, you will know the process, but you won't have the similar results as they're having. So that is why my tutorials are a little bit quite long, just for your understanding, because my goal is just to help you guys grow. You know, we need each other. Yeah. Okay, now let us see. Now when you look at this, we have, let me just put this, let us see our before and after. That is the before and that is the after. Before, after, before and after. Guys, isn't that amazing? I mean, we've worked on the skin tones just using frequency separation. Guys, I think that's that for today. I hope to see you in my next tutorial. And if you've not yet subscribed, you better subscribe right now. Otherwise, you're going to miss out on a lot of amazing stuff. I hope to see you, and adios.